Shivaji Maharaj with his 1,000 men was trapped inside Fort Pahalgarh. He was surrounded on all sides by 65,000 strong army men commanded by Siddhi Johar. And all their escape routes and all their communication channels were blocked by them. On the stormy night of 12th July 1660, Mr. Khanta's chair, fellow Toastmasters and my dear guests, though they tried their best, these 65,000 strong enemy soldiers couldn't break through the Maratha defense. And at the same time, the Shivaji with his soldiers is running out of ammunition and food supplies. So he made a daring plan on that stormy night. He sent an envoy to his enemy, Siddhi Johar, and he requested, in that letter that he sent, he told that he is willing to surrender unconditionally and to be given pardon. Seeing this and hearing this, Siddhi Johar's soldiers relaxed and celebrated. After 3 months long siege, they are finally victorious, they thought. On that night, stormy night, it was pouring heavily. There was thunder and lightning. And Shivaji with his 600 strong men descended his fort. And he sees a sea of tents, enemy tents, surrounding his fort. They didn't take any horses, lest the horses' hoofs would make sound that would awaken the soldiers inside the tents. They trekked surreptitiously past the enemy tents and went beyond the tents. As soon as they reached beyond the tents, immediately the soldiers carrying Shivaji's palanquin started running faster. Suddenly, there was a streak of lightning and the whole area was lit up. An enemy spy who just stepped out for a moment saw these people escaping. Immediately he ran and told Siddhi Johar, the enemy chief, sir, they are escaping. Siddhi Johar was thunderstruck. He was amazed. He was deceived. But he didn't lose heart. He immediately summoned his son-in-law and asked him, commanded him, go and get me Shivaji right now. Within no time, they surrounded Shivaji's palanquin and brought Shivaji. Now Siddhi Johar was happy and proud that he could capture the greatest king ever, Shivaji Maharaj. And he was eagerly waiting about boasting himself in front of Shivaji. As Shivaji was brought in front of him, he realized that it was not Shivaji. It was Shivaji's barber, Shivakashi, who was standing in front of him. Once again, he was deceived. Meanwhile, Shivaji with 600 of his men was escaping towards Fort Vishalgarh, which was 60 kilometers away from this place. So Siddhi Johar immediately sent an army of 20,000 men on horses to pursue him in order to avoid these men who were coming after them on horses. Shivaji and his men traveled through dense forests filled with wild animals, deep gorges running with fast rivers, where if you would get caught, you would get lost somewhere. Not to mention knee-deep sludge. They were trudging through them, walking tirelessly. By 13th noon of July 1660, they finally reached, they covered 60 kilometers. But the enemy soldiers are fast closing in. Siddhi, they realized that with so many people, they have already covered 40 kilometers in that time. But they were traveling for 14 hours straight, running through all this mud and pouring rain. They were all tired. And look at the opposing armies. They are 20,000 strong. And they were going on their horses with none of them being tired. So they realized they could not defeat them. So Baji Prabhu, who was a commander in Shivaji's army, he went to Shivaji and said, Shivaji Maharaj, let me take half the men and defend the 30,000 people who are coming up against us at this narrow pass, while you take half the men and reach Vishalgarh fort. Shivaji Maharaj realized this is their last chance. So he left with half the men and left speedily towards Vishalgarh fort. Meanwhile, they were getting prepared and ready for the enemy soldiers to come at the narrow pass. What they did was, they took the shields and formed a barrier right at the narrow pass, waiting the soldiers coming. They shouted, Har Har Mahadev, and waited anxiously for the enemy soldiers to come. Wave after wave, the enemy soldiers came, but they couldn't go past this barrier that they erected. They kept trying and trying, but no matter what, they couldn't get past the barrier. When they could get past the barrier, the enemy soldiers, these guys cut them down with their sword. Cut them down with their sword. And they kept going. Suddenly, somebody thrust his sword into Baji Prabhu. He was injured previously. But no matter, he took off the sword, threw it away, took a cloth and tied it around himself, and took his personal sword and started fighting again. Seeing this, his soldiers, whose spirits were sagging, thinking that they are going to lose the battle, they got inspired and they started fighting again with renewed vigor. Meanwhile, Shivaji, when he reached the Vishalgarh fort, he was faced with the army who was trying to defeat and enter Vishalgarh fort. He quickly defeated them and entered and fired a cannon from there. Hearing that cannon, Baji Prabhu, who was already severely injured and kept fighting, he finally died peacefully, knowing that his sacrifice, along with his soldiers, was not in vain. This story is not about the great escape. It's also about courage under great odds, self-sacrifice, and great dedication towards your land for independence.